Welcome to my first ever tutorial. That's a lie, but this is the first one I've done in a while, so it's going to be the first. We're going to be making some absolutely ridiculous tear-out guns today. We're going to jump straight into it because I know how everyone hates weighing. So what I've been doing is I basically made Gun to the Unholy 4, and Gun to the Unholy 4 is basically using serum into Multipass. And if you don't have Multipass, what are you doing, man? It is like the best thing for making any kind of bases in any genre ever. Shout out Kilo Hearts. Anyway, what we're going to do is use serum first, and then we're going to use Multipass to really fatten up these guns. I like using the cymatics wavetables because they're fantastic. We're going to just choose one, and we're going to make it down to -3 over here. Let's make sure it's loud enough first. There we go. Beautiful. With LFO1, what we're going to do is we're going to create that shape like this. Bang. Make sure it's on envelope mode. Now, I know it sounds like ass right now, but we're not trying to make the sound in serum. We're going to be making the sound mostly in Multipass. So what we need to do is basically give the gun its shape. With LFO1, we're going to give it that shape right there. And what I like doing is I like using something called a band pass. Low pass and a high pass basically shoved together. And when you put LFO1 on the cutoff like that, it creates that transient, which is really important for getting those gun sounds. What you want is the high frequencies to come first, and then it comes down into the low. We can crank the drive up on that as well. Oh, that might be too loud. Whoops. Another thing that's really important with guns is pitch bend. It emphasizes the transients. So what we're going to do is we're going to do LFO2. We're going to go to the matrix over here. We're going to slam that on the source and go to global master tuning, make it bend like this, make it go one way, and then we're going to create our transient. It's going to be quite similar to what we're doing over here. I'll obviously make sure that's on envelope mode, otherwise it's going to sound very silly, isn't it? And that's all we're going to do. We don't want to use any of serum's post-processing. This is the problem I have with sample packs now, is that they only use serum's post-processing. I'm sorry, it's 2024. We've got to, like, broaden our horizons. This is why my pack involves Multipass, which you should definitely get. What we're going to do is we're going to link that up to your doors thing. Well, FL Studio, you have to do it manually. In Ableton, it's just there for you. And then we're going to go straight into Multipass. Now, this is where we're going to fatten things up. Good, so what we're going to do is we're going to slam some distortion on that. We'll also make sure that's down here. I think this thing is too much now. There we go. Best thing about Multipass is that you can basically put different effects on different parts of the frequency spectrum, which is really good for not fucking up your sub bass, and 2, processing your transients differently, which is really essential for guns. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a phase distortion on. This is basically just FMing the sound coming in to itself. It's almost like FM feedback, really. I'm also going to put a wave shaper on afterwards. And the most important ingredient, the convolver. Now, this is where you're going to get most of that sound from the gun coming through. It's one of the best inventions ever. Whoever made convolvers, get your dick sucked. It's amazing. What I usually do is I go into impulse responses, which is what it's normally used for, and I go into spaces real. Now, these are basically just reverbs, and that doesn't sound very good now, but if you make it way shorter and put the fade out like this, put the tone up, you can start to hear the sound coming out now. Cool. I'm going to put a little bit more signal through. It's a little bit too much distortion here. Cool. I'm also going to basically bring out the transients on this. Bring out the lasers. Maybe adjust a few of these parameters like that. Right, I'm going to distort this more because there's just simply not enough. And we have basically a gun. Now, everything else is just going to be to taste. You can now go and change these wavetables in Serum to see what else you can have. That's a little bit too much for me. This wave shaper is doing my head in. Cool. Let's see what else we got. Put the drive up a little bit more. I'm gonna cave and start using serum distortion. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's put the gain up on this. Beautiful. Put the drive up a little bit more. Oh, wow. I'm going to move this a little bit because the convolver is obviously adding a little bit of stereo width to the sound. So the great thing about Multipass is if you don't want the stereo width from this convolver coming too low, you could EQ it out with some side EQ, but I like just moving this shit up. Problem solved. Let's put a little bit more distortion in. Now, if you want to get really creative, what you can do is you can go get a frequency shifter, pop that before the phase distortion, put this up. And you get lots of different varieties like that. Now, if you really, really want to go even crazier, you can go and put another convolver over here. I love using these phases over here, especially phaser 1. Don't know what it does at the moment. I think it just basically acts like a disperser, but it makes it have this whip and it adds to the transient of the sound. Listen to this. And you can stretch these samples. So if you don't like how long this sample is or how big it's affecting the sound, you can change the stretch over here. We'll put the tone up a bit on that. Another thing I like doing is just adding some frequencies, like boosting this. Disgusting. I could add another convolver onto the transient, but I'm not going to do a big one. I'm just going to do a tiny little one like this. Move it around here. It's always good to have it halfway in this sample, mainly because the initial attack of the impulse response is a bit dry, and as it comes, as the impulse response sample comes along, it gets a little bit wetter. Yeah. See how I moved it? It's just added a lot more reverb. And now if you have a little bit of EQ, we have loads of frequencies in the mids, but not enough treble. And we can take away some stuff over here. And there you have a gun that sounds really good, and it has sub bass in it. You don't even need to use a separate sub. If you can't be asked to make any of your own guns, I've made an entire pack of these kind of guns ready for your disposal. It's called Guns of the Unholy. For example, let me go through some of these crazy ones. My favorite one is Tonal Gun. So what you do is you load up the preset. This is what it sounds like. There's already a dedicated Multipass preset for this one. So if we go Tonal Gun, and while every single serum preset has a corresponding multipass preset, I've actually found out that you can mix and match these serum patches and multipass patches like it's pick and mix. The great thing about it is you don't know what you're going to get, and there's thousands of combinations. You can discover some absolute gold. So I've got this one called Basic and Usable, and now it's going to go through Tonal Gun. It's okay. Let's see what happens with Frying Pan. Nice. What about Crybaby? And the great thing about this, if you want your gun to be longer, you can just simply use LFO1. And you can turn it into a stomp. If you bring this up like this, it turns into a sustain. If I make it long enough, it turns into a sustain. And the great thing about this pack as well is not only there are guns, there's lots of extra stuff as well. Over here, I've got loads of different variations of guns. You have thousands of guns in this pack, and it only costs £35. Name another sample pack company that's offering this kind of stuff. There isn't. Obviously, as well, you will be supporting me entirely, and, you know, this is how I eat food. What else is fantastic? Let's have a go. Shut up. What I'm going to do is try the Rhythm Love Song VIP gun, and then I'm going to put it through. Let's see what happens with Maniac. It's okay. What about Whipped? Oh my god, that is loud. No sub bass in that one though. That's a bit concerning. What happens if I change this gun? Ah, that's pretty cool. Let's see what happens if I put this actually with Sawtooth. That's a huge bass. So yeah, go get it. It's on my store right now. Early bird discounts are available, so get them quick before it goes up to full price. Thank you for supporting me. I'll see you soon.